God's sovereignty. Sovereignty. What does sovereign mean? It means that he is in full control despite what might be going on in the world. You got to know that God is still in full control. Don't be dismayed. As young people say, don't get it twisted. Don't believe everything that these eyes see, because God is sovereign and God is permitting whatever is happening in your life and my life right now is happening by the permissive will of God. Whatever is happening in this world is happening by the permissive will of God. God is permitting it because in the grand scheme of God's plan, God is going to find a way to bring good out of evil. He's going to find a way to bring blessings out of difficulty. That's the kind of God that we serve. So the first theme is his sovereignty. The second theme is his faithfulness. The fact that we can trust him no matter what. Why? Because he said that he'll never abandon us. He'll never leave us nor forsake us. So we have his sovereignty, we have his faithfulness, and also the theme of his power. His power. What is the theme of his power in this particular text? That he strengthens and that he upholds his people when life weakens us. All of those, everything I just said is chock full right in that one verse. And so I want to go through, I want to delineate them, and I want to break it down piece by piece, specifically as it relates to how we can digest it or metabolize it in a very practical way. Meaning, how do we take this verse and apply it to our lives and make it useful to us so that we don't have to walk in fear, so that we don't have to be confused about anything, and so that we don't have to be overcome or overwhelmed by what it is that our eyes see. Right? Because in this season right here, we have to walk, we have to see life through the eyes of the Spirit. That's it. We have to see life through the eyes of the Spirit and not just these human eyes, because the human eyes will tell you that evil is winning. But the eyes of the Spirit see God's sovereignty, and we see God's faithfulness, and we see God's power, especially if you've been walking with God for a while. So let's dig into the verse. Let's dig into the verse, and I thank you guys for sticking around. I don't want to shortchange this at all, so I'm going to dig into it, and God willing, you guys will hang in there. All right. So the first part of the verse is God commanding us not to fear. And remember, it's a command, not a suggestion. It's a command, not a suggestion. He says, "Fear not, for I am with you." And if God commands us to do anything, it also means that he's already given us the strength and the ability not to do it. If he says, "Do not fear," then we already have the power. We have God's power to help us not to walk in fear. In the flesh and our own human strength, we can't do that. We'll be walking in fear all day long. We'll be timid. We'll be blown to and forth by the winds of the world and by all the stuff, craziness that's going on. That's why we have to walk in the Spirit and not fulfill the desires of the flesh. When God gives a command, along with the command comes the ability to carry out what he's commanding us to do. If that wasn't the case, then God would be setting us up for failure. And I don't think that God is into that right there. So he says, "Fear not." When we walk in fear, we made a choice to walk in fear. I'll tell you why. Fear is a common human experience, right? It's a common thing. It comes with being human. Everybody gets fearful from time to time. But what this text is talking about is to not be overcome by fear, not be consumed by fear. Not allow fear to have such a grip on you that you lose sleep and that you're so worried about things that are going on, or about some people are worried about stuff that hasn't even happened yet and probably will never happen. He's saying, don't be consumed by fear. Don't allow the enemy to use fear in that way and consume you. Why? Because I'm with you. That's what he's saying. If you got me with you, then we are together. We're more than the world against you. If you have God on your side,